This video is simply meant to report on the news and give some insight on the situation. Thank you. The coronation of Prince Charles is coming up soon. When a ceremony is so enormously, incredibly majestic and pompous, some things could go wrong as well.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm your host Dr. Sanay and thank you for tuning in.
Guys, I read about the coronation of Queen Victoria, who ruled for 63 years and was the longest reigning British monarch until Queen Elizabeth II beat her to it by reigning for 70 years. Queen Elizabeth's coronation is supposed to have gone off beautifully, but Queen Victoria's had been full of bloopers. Some humorous ones, some total disasters. Queen Victoria became queen at the age of 18 in June of 1837. Just like King Charles would be coronated about 8 months after he started to rule, the date was set for Queen Victoria's ceremony on Thursday, June 28, 1838, over an year after she started her rule. Unfortunately, the organizers were late to arrange the service as the preparations didn't begin until March 1838. People were very excited and large crowds began arriving in London. And guys, believe me, I read that on the coronation day, over 420,000 visitors had gathered in London, flooding the city. At 10 that morning, Queen Victoria got into the Gold State coach and the cheering crowds were euphoric to see her pass by. It took her more than an hour to get to the Abbey, but the surprising truth is that there was almost no rehearsal for it. Now guys, the expected smoothness in the running of the ceremony did not happen. Witnesses recall that only a few men seemed to know what they were doing, while most other people of the organizing team looked clueless. They made the Queen leave her chair too early, and a confused Queen Victoria had been heard asking one of the lords what she had to do next. The Archbishop of Canterbury, who put the crown on the sovereign's head, had made a few awkward little mistakes too. The craziest thing people noticed that happened was when it came to Queen Victoria to wear the coronation ring, it was too small. Apparently the goldsmiths had mistakenly made it for her little finger, but Archbishop forced the ring onto her fourth finger anyway, causing the Queen great discomfort. It is said that to take it off later, Queen Victoria had to hold her hand in ice-cold water. Guys, a few more mishaps. The Bishop of Bath and Wells, who was making sure that all went according to plan, accidentally missed 2 pages of the order of service. This was the section where the monarch's title was proclaimed to make the ceremony valid. The Queen had to return to church later to get that bit done and be validated. There were a few other bloopers, hilarious ones. For instance, Her Majesty was given the orb at the wrong time. It was too heavy for a young girl. The music at the ceremony was quite a bungle due to a lack of thought and preparation. The composer who had been hired to write the new anthem for the service had passed away 3 months before the coronation, and his work had not been completed. A quick piece of music had been put together, and it was not so good, as it is said to have lacked harmony as the orchestra had not practiced well enough. The conductor, Sir George Smart, had decided to play the organ himself rather than perform his conducting role by supervising the other musicians. So, guys, would you think the orchestra without its conductor could have been very impressive? I wonder. The funniest event of this absurdly comical day was when the peers were paying their homage to the new Queen. The Honourable Member of Parliament, Lord John Rode, already in his 80s at the time, missed a step and rolled down the steps as he attempted to climb up the stairs to her throne. Thank God he wasn't hurt. He got up bravely and made another valiant attempt to approach the Queen. She quickly came down to Mr. Roll, so he didn't have to repeat his precarious climb again. Lord Roll became the character of jokes in society, particularly in English pubs, for a long time. There were limericks written about him too. Guys, the coronation medals became another joke as the treasurer tried to cheer up the noble guests of the church by throwing some coronation medals into the crowd. And it was a sight to see. Guys, imagine the pandemonium as aldermen, judges and maids of honor started fighting each other for a piece of metal. The ceremony lasted 5 painful hours, with one hullabaloo after another. The great Queen, Queen Victoria, faced this disaster-filled event with composure and restraint, showing her dignity of character right through. The coronation of King Charles is sure to go ahead perfectly with no hair-raising hiccups unless the Markles show up and decide to embarrass themselves, as they usually do. longing for sympathy and attention. Let's see what happens, guys. Just a few days more to go. That's it for tonight.